Hi everyone. I'll tell you, these podcasters, oof. Okay, so now the plot thickens with Blake Bednar, uh, and whether he sent Candace Owens the video in September as he claims. And my understanding at first had been it was a video that he had compiled, that he had contacted a whole bunch of people and gotten their videos from their phones. But now my understanding is that no, this was the video at the UVU that one of the cameras had taken, and he had gotten a copy of it. But then he was told by UVU, but apparently they won't like make it official, but he was told by UVU that he didn't have the right to share it. That, I guess it was UVU property. Um, so I'm not sure exactly, what does he have the right to share it? I mean, if they gave it to him, because the issue with this film is apparently they handed it over to, excuse me, this was a video that was handed over to the media outlets, but the media outlets haven't published it. Now, I would believe that if they handed it over to the media outlet and handed it over to Blake, they really have no grounds to say you can't publish it because the other media outlets aren't publishing it or for whatever reason. Um, I mean, you'd have to look into, if you're going to argue that in the courts, okay, which courts are we looking at? Which laws will we look at? But yeah, I mean, I would be able to argue and figure out some laws or whatever to argue. Well, yeah, if if he's given it to if they've given it to media outlets and distribute it, well, he can publish it. I mean, why he wouldn't be able to publish it is questioning why. Tell us why. I mean, that's why I'd kind of like to get him in court and say, well, why is it that you don't want it published? Did somebody tell you not to publish it? And who might that be? I mean, obviously, that's like, wait a second, why can't I publish it? Oh, this is heating up. I saw Tucker Carlson. DOJ is going after him and Nick Fuentes. Everybody wants to be in the limelight. Nobody wants to work together. I believe, isn't it like the First Testament, the very, very beginning? Uh, and one of those old guys, he takes some straw and he takes a piece of straw and he says, "Look, individually, I can break this straw real easily. I put it together. I bind you all together. Together, it's much more difficult for me to break it." Yeah, huh. These guys that need to learn that lesson. So, okay. So here we've got Blake, who, and I'll play some of that, uh, has, let me make sure I have my stereo on, has, this is going to confirm that he gave it to Candace. He sent it to Candace back in September. And Candace is saying that no, she never got it. It was just clips. I mean, she's all over the map and calling out Erica Kirk for lying. And the problem is yeah, I've caught her in lies before as well. I mean, it's not, how can I say, they're little like white lies, like, well, I didn't have time to check on that, but it sounds good. I mean, that's my favorite. That was Phyllis Schlafly. I don't know if that really happened, but there's a movie, Mrs. America, and it's the story of Phyllis Schlafly. She's the anti-feminist of the Reagan era, and this is the there's the Eagle Forum, which was started by Phyllis Schlafly and her cronies, and then her children came on board, but then that divided over Trump, and the Eagle Forum stayed with her kids and whoever, the old guard. They supported Ted Cruz, and Ed Martin and Phyllis Schlafly started a new one in support of Donald Trump. So, I mean, Candace Owens should know all about, she should be looking into that as well. I mean, we'll look into she's also looking at, I'm going to do another video about that. But, so why, it's kind of, well, why didn't Candace show any of this footage? Because she has there's some gaps of knowledge in her examination of things. She's really focused on Erica Kirk. I mean, the thing is yeah, Erica's obviously a pawn. Excuse me. Erica is obviously a honeypot. If you start looking at the timeline, and this is where I've been looking at the Arizona Mormons, the Farnsworth, who are the networks there, the Farnsworth, Andrew Colvett, Andy Biggs is in there. I mean, I'm still looking at all of that stuff. I'm all by myself, and then I also have, a minimum wage job, while these guys are raking in lots and lots of money from all of this stuff. And all of the podcasters, this is not organic. These guys are getting stellar. They're being, I mean, I think it's the algorithms that are favoring this one, that one. I mean, I don't think it's like one person. Oh, this guy, we really like this guy. Like Trump, he's sitting there in his situation room watching. Okay, this one here, this one's good. Hood, gives to this one more. No, I think it's more the algorithms. Although Trump may have his 2 cents in there sometimes, and some of the other people in power. We don't like that one. Make sure that one doesn't get any likes or subscribes, and I mean, okay, nobody likes me. I don't care, whatever. I'm not doing this to be liked, or when we get to, I don't care if anybody ever looks at this except the judge and the jury when we get to the end of the line. So it was sent. The footage was sent. That's been established, confirmed. Here, let's watch. Dee Dee's gonna do it.
Video that I did, it once again.
Okay, hold on.
Dude, I wouldn't subject myself to all of this if I wasn't 1,000%. I really wouldn't. Dude, if I was some bad actor, I would have cut and run. I would have never used my real name.
Everything's been confirmed in this video. I've confirmed. and everything been screen recorded, so don't take my word for it. The video is 11 minutes and 16 seconds. The original raw file is 3.21 gigabytes. After it has been sent, it shows as 2.99 gigabytes. But the moment you downloaded it, the way you're about to see in this video that I did, it once again shows you that the raw footage is 3.21 gigabytes, 11 minutes and 16 seconds, no commentary. This is raw footage without Blake stating what he believes happened to Charlie. I'm confirming it. This video confirms it. If you still make excuses after this, maybe you need to reconsider if you're in a cult or not. Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Okay, so see, Didi has confirmed that the footage was sent. I mean, like a guy is sitting in prison and they're pulling all this shit, and it's all, oh, I'm not sharing the limelight with anybody. Oh, don't, gotta cancel them. The second that the Fort Huachuca story came out, and Gary Melton led the charge for the military-industrial complex to silence this thing, because, oh Lord, they found out that the military was involved. I mean, okay, I don't know, the military would be involved, but obviously CIA or some contract, most probably contract. I mean, or maybe, I don't know, in the military. That's more concerning. That's really quite concerning now that I think of it. If the whole thing was, I mean, I still don't know if he was shot, if he, exactly how Charlie was killed. Still don't really know. No concrete, proof this is what killed him. Much less, was it a bullet? Was it, like, because if you have, like, somebody gets shot by 5 bullets, you're going to find the bullet that actually killed him in the autopsy. You're going to say, oh, we got 5 bullets. We got to find, 5 people shot into here. We got to find out who is the murderer. Because the other people can't be tried for murder. So you got to find, okay, so, but they don't even know exactly, like, if it was a bullet or not. We have no idea. Still, after all this time. But now, okay, so the file was sent to Candace. They've been squabbling all over the place. We obviously know, with the whole Fort Huachuca stuff, that something's going on with the military. Because if it's not confirmed by Mitch Snow and who he saw there, and then Gary Melton confirmed that Mitch Snow was at Fort Huachuca because he brought Mitch Snow's son on his platform to confirm it. So these are things that we do know, okay? Because believe me, everybody's all over the map. Now, this is something that I was like, oh my God, you guys, come on. Holy shit. Right after I see Didi got a podcast, he's confirming that the file was sent to Candace. Okay. Is there, does this offer much more information than other footage that we've seen? I don't know. I mean, I haven't gone into detail. I've been more interested in the dynamics going on between the podcasters and also the their input. I mean, this this is also a project of a problem of project management. Okay, we got a shooting here. We got a problem here. Okay, everybody go. You're gonna go out and you know about ballistics. You're gonna go out and go and shoot some stuff and figure out try and figure out if it would have like if this would have shot his head off or not. Okay, so everybody agrees it would have shot his head off. Okay, so we got the ballistics guys. Now, this is what project management is about. Now, you ballistic guys, you don't start arguing with the other people who are going to go and, I don't know, gather the evidence of where the clothes ended up, whatever, or the research in the legal issues. That's why you have a project manager. No. You ballistic people, you're not going to argue with the other people. We're all going to sit here at the table. We're all going to put our cards on the table, and we're all going to give our input, no squabbling, and try and figure out what the fuck is going on. See, Julian Dory, I think he would have been a good addition to this thing as a project manager for this whole thing. Didi got a podcast. He's been put. So he's like, whoa, you people, you're all over the freaking Mac. What are you doing? Okay, calm down. Come on in here and explain to me what the fuck. Each one's story. I mean, this is like kindergarten. With the kindergarten kids. Wait a second. Okay. Everybody's going to give me their version of the story. We're going to try and figure out what happened. Who stole the cookie? Okay. So now, listen to this with Jesse on fire and Paul. Now, who is Paul? Oh my God. Who is Paul? That's all the information we have on this guy. This is another thing. My God, if you're going to come to the frickin' table, would you please put, identify yourself. Full name, rank, and serial number, please. Okay.
Down the pipe, during the stream that I had never seen before. So that is what we're going to do. I'm going to bring him up right now. And so let's do this thing. This is Paul or Cassandra. It's up to you guys. His name's Paul. So Paul, welcome to the show, and let's get into this thing.
Hey.
Yep. So I guess we can start with how would you characterize your background and how you ended up looking into this case, and then you can walk us through how you got involved with Blake.
Yeah, sure. I'm more of an autodidact lone researcher, and I prefer my assertions and research methodology and extensive explanation, which I have a tendency to over-explain. But I'd like the explanation of my data to demonstrate my competence rather than the claim to be an expert in any particular field. But broadly speaking, as it relates to Charlie Kirk and September 10th, in no particular order, relevant topics is high familiarity with firearms, physics, precision manufacturing, metallurgy, jewelry smithing, conspiracy as entertainment, which I understand. Conspiracy.
Hold on. I wanted to say this here.
Then became aware of them. And I must say, even now, I feel a bit conflicted about the topic that we're set to discuss today, given that I've previously had an observation of the investigative community that it is ripe with confrontational, accusatory, vitriolic infighting, and along with the sensationalized spectacle of conspiracy as entertainment, which I understand. I don't. It's not that I'm above it or anything. I'm just observing it, and I've been insistent that my own data development not engage in that, and yet here I am about to engage in a limited amount of clash of social media personas. But yeah, that's.
And so, what were you trying? So I guess a better place to start was what were your goals initially when you started looking for someone to bring your data out through?
Okay, yes, I've been collecting all this data since September, and my frustration has been that I have no experience with social media, producing videos, 3D rendering animation software, and I feel as though I'm I've been in a perpetually isolated state of compiling data with no sufficient means of compartmentalizing it for everyone to understand. And as
I say, if there had been a project manager for this whole thing, you got the project manager. Okay, look, I've been looking at all of this stuff, but it needs to be, as he says, processed into a video or something. Well, okay, now we need a video person. Get the shit together.
Frustration of that circumstance had been accumulating for many months, and it caught me just at the right time to hear this person, who I learned was Blake Bednarz, take notice and comment on specifically the necklace chain's behaviors, the fracture point, the trajectory and velocity that caught my ear. Although he didn't have the background to see it the way I do, it caught my attention because of how, and I have the video clip of this instance to kind of demonstrate. These are the two video clips that I saw in particular that really made me think, I've got the data and I'm camera shy and not social media savvy, and I don't know how to make a video and do 3D animations. This Blake guy would be perfect to get it. He's got all that figured out. So I thought it would be
I can pull it up right here on.
There it is.
Sorry about that. Yeah. And so, and you were saying he's got the temperament you're looking for.
Yeah. Yes. This is one of those.
Yeah. I'm not sure why this sounds a lot like what John Bray has been looking at, and Jordan Henshaw. I mean, Kaylee Rabin has had these live streams, like, come on in, all that, like, really late for hours and hours. I mean, why didn't she connect all of these people? Everybody's just trying, like, subscribe, and, trying to get clicks and
videos if you want to play. This is him. Actually, you know what? One moment before you play that one, give me 1 sec. We'll upload the one with Matthew first. Not the one that's there. Just one moment, please. And I am new too. I will do my best to work quick, but this is my first time on anything like this, doing anything like this.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, just let me. And you can actually play it on your side. If you want me to switch clips, just let me know.
All right, it is that one that I just. Oh, I can play this. Okay, so this is where'd it go? One. Okay, here it is.
And it's the Blake and Kelly one that you wanted, right?
No, it's the one at the bottom.
Oh, okay, that's my fault then.
Yeah, I cannot select that.
The silver necklace.
No, it's it might be.
Jump back over
this one.
Yep. Yeah,
this one then.
Yes.
Okay, we get there eventually. Now you can play it yourself.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
This is frame by frame, and I was surprised, and it's the what I've always called is like the arm.
Can we 1.5 this? Speed it up a little bit. Is it possible? I don't know if it's possible.
See, I can't on my side. No.
Okay, no worries.
You might be able
Out of the shirt.
Yeah.
I was really surprised. So here is the first frame that we see anything weird happen. The shirt it's centered. It's happening in front. I mean, that's right there along his jawline.
Oh, I see it. It's blurry because it's happening so fast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's right. Can you point to it with your cursor? Yes, right there. Yeah.
And then.
Or could that be gas?
No, it's the shirt.
Okay.
It's the shirt. It's so fast. It's the shirt.
Blurry,
Now, this
blurry.
is super interesting. This is the frame I have on my UVU review footage. And the necklace is already flying. The necklace is right here.
Oh, before the rest of the shirt starts moving. So it moves first.
Y'all,
That's such a good point.
the necklace is the initiating thing. The necklace is the initiator. And it
Agree.
That's a very to his credit. That's a keen observation. This is what perked my ears up. Is like I stopped listening. I normally just listen to YouTube, and I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah, under normal circumstances, that's why I was going to have him on the show.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I was going to let him prove my case for me.
makes sense why there's such a tremendous wave of energy of things happening underneath. I mean, think about where the necklace is, right here at your sternum, and it makes perfect sense why. Think of if there is a rapid expansion or of energy that's going on as it's being detonated, then you're going to get. I mean, think of everywhere. That's why the sleeve does something, right? That's why. I mean, it makes. But it's so hard to discount the fact that the necklace is the earliest thing, the earliest indicator with it. I mean, that's force.
Yeah.
This is what defeats anybody that says he was shot with a bullet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know.
It is impossible.
Correct. Yeah.
If you hear someone talking about a bullet being fired,
Get out of here.
the necklace absolutely defeats you.
Yeah. Yep. This is
Agree. And so Paul, you had seen this before you spoke to him, correct?
Oh yeah, I was a YouTube listener. I listen to this stuff all day long, primarily listening as I go about the day, and I don't know names to faces to voices.
Sure.
But when I heard this, I was very excited
Because this lined up with your research that you had.
Yes, the fracture point, trajectory, and velocity of the necklace is what I've been developing on since September. Well, October is when I really.
And spoiler alert for everybody, where this is going is Blake's further partially developed thing that he has been going around the internet, saying. He stole from Paul, and he took 20% of it and then just butchered all the actual science, correct?
He took elements of it. The observation, the migration of the necklace clasp, for example, prior to speaking with me, Blake was not aware of the specific brand and model. It's a David Yurman. The necklace chain is a 5.2 millimeter box chain linkage that is closed linkage, laser welded. Mm-hmm. And I'll talk more about this. So I don't mean to just blow through it. We'll go over it in detail. But safe to say at this point, it is not the box chain or Rolo chain that people they likely associate it with, the $40, $50 retail chains that you would buy at a mall kiosk or on Etsy that are what's called open link. And that's when if it's a box, it's a box chain. If it's a circles, it's a Rolo chain, and they are not soldered together. So it's referred to as open link. And you apply any amount of the tensile strength on those is damn near zero. David Yurman is categorically to a degree that is so profoundly different. It might as well be a difference in kind. I would much, it's more accurate to describe the David Yurman box chain necklaces as a work of art and master of engineering than just another piece of jewelry. And I have purchased the 5.2 millimeter, the 4.8 millimeter, and the 3.6 millimeter, which I will be sharing tonight and doing a tensile stress test on these to demonstrate that these.
I mean, the relevance of all of this is that, it had to be something forceful to have broken the chain. That's because it's nobody really makes it quite clear why they're obsessed with, well, so what? The chain he broke, but that there's something that would have broken that chain. Because it's not the gunshot that would have broken the chain. So what broke that chain? That's where the relevance of the chain comes in. And that there was some sort of explosion or charge or something on the cross or the St. Michael's medallion. That also some people have said, no, the St. Michael's medallion, you don't see it. It was just the cross. And with the theory that there's some sort of charge in the cross, I find that from the evidence, from the information that I've heard, and here again, it's this drips and drabs, and there's no kind of consensus. There's no, okay, this is what we've talked about, people, and this is what we decide is like the most likely. No. It's all me, and clicks and likes. I mean, you do come together on different platforms, and so there is a way to do this as a root project. So from what I've heard in all of this, it does seem to the most likely scenario is that there was some sort of charge in the cross. That's what breaks the chain. And this is why there is this significance that Blake didn't know about these technical issues. For example, that this chain, it's laser soldered. It's, these things, it's this Paul guy who told him. And then later Blake, because obviously Blake sent that footage on September. So Blake finding out about, what the chain is made of. I'm not sure exactly what the date is, where he would have talked to this guy, this Paul guy. But he got that information from Paul. And then instead of saying, oh, I talked to this guy, Paul, and, he said he agrees with me and he's given me some more information, he presents it as his own. I mean, come on, stop that. There's a guy, he does that too. There's several of them have done that. I've seen it. There's one Asian guy. I've seen him several times doing that. Yeah, that's an issue also with these people. I mean, if you want, that's fine if you've like, okay, so and so told me this, and then so and so told me that, and here's what I think, or here's some more information I'm adding, that's what it's all about. But stop like not giving credit where credit is due. Oh, this is of epidemic proportions in academia. They're following the frickin' lead.
I mean, when you see that too, and
not only in academia. I mean, I know this from my father. Poor father.
My knowledge, no one else has done this, and I really think it is because people have taken for granted that, I owned myself a necklace like that. I knew someone who did, and they break under normal wear. They are not. I mean, this is a profoundly strong necklace, given that it is sterling silver, number one, which is an alloy. It's 92.5% silver, 7.5% copper.
See, also that this was silver. There was a significance in that because it's a good conductor. Yeah, let's look at this one.
And it is the linkage itself is laser welded, and then it is burnished, which is to say polished and smoothed out, and that is done for each individual link. Price point, obviously, it's an indicator. David Yurman is obviously a high-end brand, but then the necklace chain alone is, I believe, $835. This is not your everyday necklace that people are most likely associating as like, oh, what's the big deal? A necklace chain broke. There's a lot of force involved there. Just wait. Just hold that thought, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then, so do you want us to? Should we continue this clip right here?
Let me see if you don't mind. I'll bounce around a little bit. But yeah, let's
The
get
only way these people that are behind him and it's about to whip down to his behind his left shoulder, and the cross and the clasp are still intact on the inside. Well, from what we know,
and cause damage to.
I'll skip to the end here. So what this, and this still excited me, even though what they're doing now is incorrect, because Blake's proposal is that the intention of this explosive, there's a lot of theories, arguments online. There's a lot of people acknowledge there's an explosion. There's something going on beneath the shirt, and that is correct. There's been the hypothesis that the wound was intended to be a chest wound and it malfunctioned in some way and produced the wound on Charlie's neck. And this is an AI. The screen that you're seeing right here is Blake has looked up a list of compounds and AI potential compounds that could be put in a cross that would induce a wound, like a center shot to mimic a gunshot to the chest. And again, this is where he diverges, and I don't believe him to be incorrect, and I can demonstrate as to why. But this didn't dissuade me. I'll play the very end here, and then we'll go to the next thing. One moment.
Are some of the people implicated in this?
Like, do you see this right here? I mean, this was their main argument.
Yep. No smoke, no residue. Very quiet, almost no audible. Stealth. Yeah. Very highest possible stealth level. Yep. No flash from initiator. No flash from initiator. The top three. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I think there's something here. I just don't know what to do with it.
So that excited me quite a bit, and I was eager to get in touch with him because I can explain this to this person. And the following day, after this show with Matthew, Blake had a show with who I now know as Kelly. And this, I was waiting. My plan was I'm going to super chat the show and say, hey, Blake, I appreciate your acknowledgement of the fracture point trajectory and velocity of the necklace chain. Would love to talk to you about it. How can I get in touch with you? And before I could do that, the show ended like this. This is a much shorter clip, by the way. This is none of the other ones are as long. Here it is.
Okay.
I can only.
Oh, right. So wait. So which one do you want me to pull up?
I need to delete one because it says I can only upload 3 at a time.
That's another problem with all these podcasters who get, involved in these things. You want to contact them, you send them an email. Oh, no, my inbox is full. I mean, Baron Coleman, at least he says, oh, I just say that. I actually read them. And I just don't want, take the time to respond to anybody. This is what is happening with Capitol Hill and congressional members and why we're getting so freaking pissed off. I have had it with these snot-nosed brats. And the same thing, oh, I'm going to get in the limelight, but then nobody's going to contact me. I'm going to be able to put up in my ivory tower, and I'm like somebody important now. And the little people, they won't be able to contact me because they're little, and I'm important. Oh, this goes on all of the time. Now, this was particularly with Bobby Kennedy's campaign. I was like, excuse me, one of the jobs that I applied for with this campaign, I was like, put me in the administrative function in here and let me run that shit. And I can promise you, this will be organized, and we'll get a website triage on all of the people. They'll contact us. We'll get the triage and respond and use that data. God, I mean, I love the email about Erica Kirk and it being a psyop, and this was some video to find out what the reaction of everybody would be with her crying, I just want to go home. And the admission, the proof that it was like this whole psyop was sent in an email by mistake to a whole bunch of people, and it was recalled, but they didn't recall the whole thing, and it's out there. Assholes. See, they proved me right. I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. See, this is the problem. Administrative function. I mean, I've been back for 18 years going, I can't believe how stupid these idiot women are. I mean, okay, some of them are in, but most of them are the secretaries. Oh, it's precious. It's precious.
This one.
Here, I'll take down that one that was just on. Oh my God. I kicked him. I'm such an idiot. Hang on. I'm a moron. That's completely my fault, you guys. I was trying to,
I mean, come on, and we can't take down a government that's run by morons. That makes us pretty moronic.
Sorry about that. That's completely my fault. And now you're going to have to add all those screens again. I am an idiot.
No
I was trying to take just that one screen down and it wouldn't let me. It said kick this screen. So I kicked the screen and everything disappeared.
I thought I was the amateur. What is it?
No, it's me. In almost every case, it will always, generally speaking, it'll be me that messes things up. That's how I do.
Okay. So this is I wanted to contact Blake the next day. Was really excited to have heard him make that observation. Thought he was very close. And as he said at the end, he didn't know what to make of it. I was like, this is perfect. This is the kind of person I've been praying for and waiting for. Someone who's good with social media, knows the making videos and all that.
Blake didn't totally steal his ideas. He contacted him because they were on the same page. But Blake afterwards didn't give recognition where recognition was due.
Just have the data, and you can play this video here. This is the
So don't everybody start attacking Blake again, please.
following day with Kelly.
Blake has responded here. Do you want to know now what he says, or should we just keep going?
Created anything?
We'll go through. We'll go through Blake's response after the Blake portion.
Okay.
We see it. We see it. I mean, I can pull it up right here on. I mean, I don't want to do it on YouTube, but like, there's a river of blood coming out, and it originates from under a shirt. I mean, I don't have to recreate it.
Okay.
Okay, that's the way that I view it, Kelly, because I'm looking at it in terms of I don't see a prosthetic anywhere at all.
But we don't see the item.
So that is my definition of a rabbit.
Hold on though. We don't see an item actually of any sort actually enter his neck, do we?
No, because it's all happening so fast and it's
Yeah, so Kelly believes that she's with Jordan Henshaw, that it's a Hollywood psyop, and that they've got, it's fake blood and it's all faked. Now, there was, who was talking? Was that Candace? Who was talking about that? Maybe Candace. I mean, I listened to all of these. I mean, okay, not all of everything. I mean, Gary Melton, I mean, sometimes it's just like, and that's from an anthropological perspective. And believe me, I'll be having all of those videos put into course. It's interesting, but no, all of the different, points. Okay, this one's saying that one. When we started this whole thing, I went back into the old movies, the old crime movies, where it's like, okay, let's actually look at evidence and think. So anyway, there was Andrew Colvett. He was Hollywood. And there was somebody, I can't remember exactly who. There was some more connections with Hollywood, and there was somebody on the scene who does, how to do all of this, Hollywood fake, killings with the blood spurting out. Now, there was some Hollywood stunt guy, or, these guys who put these things together, who said, no, it wouldn't be possible. I mean, yeah, with the experts, you're going to find one, oh, it's impossible. Another, oh, yeah, it's totally possible. So I'm not qualified enough to say, I mean, I think it would be possible because we see it all the time in Hollywood. But I understand if you're doing this, in Hollywood, if it doesn't come out correct, you just reshoot it. There was no, possibility of refilming this thing, This was, I don't know how they call it in Hollywood, a one take thing. No possibilities for 2 or 3 takes.
Undershirt.
Well, no, because the hole is up here, and even when the shirt
the moment the bubble, there's a bubble on the collar, and that's what unloads.
Convenient. It's so convenient that happens, isn't it? It's pretty convenient that happens. So it can kind of, conceal what's happening at that exact moment in time.
This is gonna be fun. I'm gonna have fun this week. Mm-hmm. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and we will see you. Yeah, it's gonna be good this week.
Okay, first of all, I have to comment on that before we move.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because that is so funny, because so that's like one of the first things, and your interpretation was like, wow, he really
what a man of character. Yeah.
What a great character. Where I watched that and I'm like, she barely poked him. Was like, oh, isn't that convenient? And he was like,
I didn't know who Kelly was. I didn't know their dynamic. I kind of saw it as like, well, that was kind of on her part. I was like, that was kind of rude and dismissive, and little does she know, I was like, what Blake is going for is actually, you should pay attention. And she just dismissed him. And his response I found inspiring. And I was even then I was just about to super chat. I was bummed that I wasn't able to super chat, but I was like, you know what, this is, and in retrospect, it's like, of the two, I believe in retrospect, I couldn't have made a worse choice with this person that I've been looking for, familiar with social media, to select to help me with this. But in retrospect, looking back, it's like, what, now that I know Blake's persona and reputation, it's like, wow, what a fluke for me to have like seen these two instances.
No, I mean, everybody's, as he said at the beginning of this, everybody's been squabbling. Everybody, nobody's taken real charge of this whole thing. Everybody's following Candace, but Candace is not leading this. She's like off in her little ivory tower doing her own thing.
Instances, and I made a rushed judgment as to who he was, but nevertheless, I wasn't able to super chat that day. So what I did the following day, I Googled him. I was able to find a contact for him, and I thought to myself, this is kind of, I don't know if this is unethical, but I'm just going to call him and say, hey, I am interested in working with you. I can explain the observations that you're keenly, to his credit, making. It's not a shade charge. It's not any of this stuff, but I'd like to talk to you about this. And that's when our first phone call was a 2-hour phone call. And well, I guess I can get into that now.
And yeah, everybody, that's Kelly Raybon, who's been on the show, and she's a sweetheart too. Like, you know, I would have said the exact same thing. I'd have been like, I mean, that is pretty convenient though. You know, but that's just, you know, whatever. That's how I do.
Yeah. And I got in touch with him. I was happy to do that. And we ended up talking for 2 hours, and, you know, not in a egotistical way, but I was able to elucidate the physics of what was occurring, what he was seeing, what was mystifying about it, and explain it in a way that he was very excited about. And I told him, I was like, you know, I'm looking for someone like you because I don't have the social media acumen and the you're perfect for me, I'm perfect for you sort of thing. And I also expressed to him that it was important to me that, from my perspective, what I observe occurring in the social media space, specifically in the investigative community, is there's a lot of mudslinging and sensationalism, and every day it's a palm pistol, it's a drone, it's a hologram, it's a blood pouch. And not to disparage any one particular thing, but I'm looking at this from the perspective of I estimate that there's how many million people do you think are involved in the day-to-day critiquing of what exactly happened to Charlie?
Oh, a lot.
I think 10 million is gracious, and I think that one of the issues I take is I don't elect myself to be the leader of the investigative community or by any means. But what saddens me is that it seems as though there's a narcissistic fixation within the investigative community on themselves. You know, this isolated community of, let's call it 10 million people. There's 280 million.
I wanted to play this because yes. And everybody should be ashamed of themselves. Charlie Kirk is dead. There is a man who is sitting in prison. Death penalty is on the table, and this is going on.
Adults in America that, you know, they're going to need better convincing, and they're going to be turned off by drama and speculation that is just not knowable. And there's this huge rush to sensationalize and say, we see this and therefore we know who's guilty. You know, Blake's saying now is that he is absolutely certain that it was a shape charge independent and that Brian Harpole triggered it. And the sad thing that I see there is that that'll make its rounds in and get clicks in the investigative community. But what does that appear like to the contingent outside of the investigative community?
He's even got a lawsuit against Candace Owens. These people are crazy. That's stupid. Now Candace can get all sorts of information. Brian Harpole and Gary Belton should start a club for stupid idiots. Oh my God, these people. At least they keep me laughing.
Shouldn't the focus be there as well? Everyday Americans who are, it's not like they're mindless sheep and just absorbing the narrative without question, but they're also, you know, they're not, they can tell when it reaches a point of like, this person is just speculating, and it actually harms the investigative goal in my mind.
Anything said with certainty, which cannot be known for certain, any intelligent person that is good at assessing these things is going to sniff that out, and they're going to go, "Oh, you sound real confident in that," and there's literally no possible way for you to know for sure.
Yes.
And I would say too, like I feel like people get super bent out of shape in one way or another, because they attach their like ego and credibility to being right. You know, where it's like there's a million factors in this thing, and so people start like, you know, if they feel like they're getting challenged, like I've said it a million times, I don't care if I'm right. A second that I see something that is just like definitive that tells me, okay, I was wrong about that, I'll just own it instantly. But you know, that's because I just don't care. But nonetheless, so the next thing I guess was so you started working with Blake, and you expected him to obviously not like steal the research.
Well, so he agreed with that observation of the investigative community, and I told him another thing that was important to me, and what I was looking for was someone to help essentially create a presentation of this highly technical data in technical terms, and also in terms that everyday people can understand and follow and into it, which I know is possible. And I was hoping to find someone that and Blake was the first person that I had spoken with just in my social circles. I never had anyone else to speak with about the Charlie situation, let alone someone who is as familiar as Blake is with the frame by frame. He knows what I mean by a single frame of a video. So I was excited to find that. And the final thing that him and I agreed on supposedly was that it would be best for this presentation to be put on a social media profile that was, for all intents and purposes, anonymous, not didn't have a history of, 3 weeks ago they were saying this and now they're saying this and that and the other thing, and there's just the drama attached to it, that it would be much more powerful and cut through the potential for being misrepresented or called something else.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but I'll help you shape that idea that you're communicating. Is if it's put out anonymously, then it stands on its own as it relates to the science, and it is wholesale disconnected from any individual who has talked about the case previously. And it either sinks or swims purely on the research. And if I'm hearing what you're saying, like also, I think what you were trying to accomplish here, and still are, I would imagine, is the type of like inertia and forward motion that happened with like Building 7 and the 9/11.
See, I disagree. If you're putting something out there anonymously, I'm tired of that. Who are you? You know, like, why, like, who's behind this? If it's out there by somebody I don't know, maybe it's not true. I mean, okay, I don't have to know every single person, but at least who is this person? You know, where are they coming from? What can I find out about them? Are they legit? Are they not legit? Are they a real person?
And to where all of a sudden you have thousands of engineers signing off like, this is impossible. This cannot have happened the way that they say. Yes. And then you get actual, widespread attention on it from people who are not scared to share the fact that they, disagree with the public.
He has the same idea that I do. It's centralized. We put everything together, all of the information together, and there's a sharing. I mean, okay, he's like, stick it on a website. I'm like, get a project manager. As I say, I think Didi and from Didi got a podcast. It's a good option. It with a head on his shoulders.
The official story. Is that fairly characterized?
Yes, precisely. And so that's what I thought we were going to do. And then shortly after, to my shock and dismay, he wanted to speak. We spoke on multiple occasions. I told him about the David Yurman box chain, what I believe to be what impacted Charlie, and we will be getting into that. But I think we're going to take a little bit of time to like explain the Blake situation. Let's get through this quicker. And he ceased talking to me. I think he had gotten all the information he wanted to kind of pick and choose what he wanted and say that, hey, I observed the box, the clasp. It's not at the back of his neck, and he can't really specify exactly why that's important. And then he just proceeded to say it was a shape charge, y'all, and the necklace pendant is totally astonishing to me. And I made multiple attempts to. I could share that one if you like. This is somewhat technical. If you want to. But
no, you rock and roll. As soon as you want to get into the technical stuff, you just let me know and we can rock and roll and you can explain. Explain it all. Jordan, what's up, dude? Who, what, when, where, how? Yep. Yeah. So okay. So you got that up. Oh, let me catch up on a couple super chats.
Yeah, right.
As we transition. So Michelle says your expressions yesterday with Charlie's V card was priceless. Thank you. That was when Elizabeth told me she was going to give me that clip, I was like, there's not a person on earth that you could give this to that'll do a better video on it. Seth Lillard says, thank you, Jesse. 2 months. Love your content. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much for being a member. Scotty, what's up, dude? Scotty Olsen just announcing my unimportant presence. I'm up in this B, Christ King, and God bless everyone here today. Thank you, Scotty.
So much asking for him to be a PR as I was. I mean, he was in agreement with this is the best way to go about it. And, look at the results. Lo and behold, 90% of people, even within the investigative community, not even addressing the contingent of everyday Americans who are really the most important. Everyone is saying that it's his proposal is absolutely ludicrous. And this actually, I'm glad you read that because this is the perfect response to that. I would like to, this is an opportunity to thoroughly critique his process, his theory in the way that I did. If you can bring up that, if you can see it as Blake Betrayal 3.
Yep.
It's an image.
I've got Blake Betrayal 3.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay. Is that not large enough? Okay.
No, we can see it. We can read it real well.
So it would be best if I just kind of read through this. I assume people are kind of, they're familiar with what he's proposing.
I mean, pretty much. There was a shape charge in the cross pendant.
Okay, so I'll try not to linger and go through this really quick. So this is me after he's violated what I thought we were doing. I didn't fly off the handle. Tried to be very patient with him and sent him this cordial, patient message, basically saying like, "Hey, Blake, this is the issue I see with your ONC shape charge in the cross pendant proposal that you're not going to encounter with non-technical AI prompting, which is a situation in which AI is a great tool, but sometimes it will affirm what is incorrect on the basis of an insufficient prompt or question, and sometimes it will deny what is in fact true based on an insufficient question." So I tell him that, and then I get into the a friendly critique of why this shape charge thing is not. It's not it. And that is here. In addition to the type of explosive shape charge that you are referring to, it's designed to penetrate 400 millimeters of steel, and the armored jet penetrator is the penetration is facilitated by a hypersonic jet, which is traveling at 16,000 feet per second. I.e., this would produce a secondary sonic crack local to Charlie.
Can I pause you and just
Yeah.
ask a super quick question? Because now we're getting into things. So you're saying that if the shape charge was used, facility at 16,000 feet per, so what would be going to 16,000? Are you talking about like a projectile would be going that fast?
So what a shape charge is, it's a hollow conical cavity that surrounded by a detonator that explodes a conical cavity into a plastified jet of copper that can penetrate up to 400 millimeters of steel. Obviously, one this size wouldn't do that, but that's not a qualifier for it.
And operationally, they're used for, like, breachers use them?
This is what most people are probably familiar with them with is RPGs, what's used in tanks to penetrate inches of high dense armored personnel carriers. And it's done via the Monroe effect and the superheated jet of copper pushing through a huge amount of steel. But the point is here is that part of the qualifiers of if there was an explosion underneath Charlie's shirt, and you have to contend with, if it's traveling 16,000 feet per second, it's going to produce a secondary sonic crack. So whatever happened underneath Charlie's shirt was definitively, categorically, necessarily subsonic. So here we go. Additionally, the shape charge categorically requires a large conical cavity, which the detonation deforms and compresses into a hypersonic jet of heated metal, and the cross pendant would not be suitable for housing such a conical cavity. And I go through this list and attempt to be friendly, especially at the end. Furthermore, a robust external casing is required to prevent the body of the shape charge from exploding radially and thus failing to direct the copper jet into the intended target. And what that means is that a shape charge operates by, it's in a rigid casing that's not going to explode radially. It's going to focus its force into the conical cavity, producing this plastified, superheated hypersonic jet of not molten copper, but superheated copper. And let me see here.
Well, I mean, right out of the gate, I can understand why Blake did not try to present this, because this seems a little above his pay grade.
This is the thing, is that he's still, and this is why I was so perplexed as to like why he's doing this, is because he's got me there, like wanting to work with him. So furthermore, the shape charge must detonate at a precise standoff distance from the surface of what it is intended to destroy. And this is accomplished via a contact, proximity, or command fuse. And what that means is, I'm trying to think of what people most often see if they're not weirdos that are familiar with this sort of thing. If anyone has seen the tanks in the Ukraine and Russia conflict, or that have the cages built around them, what that is intended for, it's not intended as a. Wait,
hang on. Let me pause you just super quick. Are you guys all seeing ads you can't skip? Is everybody seeing that right now? Just let me know. I'm sorry. Continue on, Paul. I'm sorry about that. I just want to, because that is, I'm trying to figure that. I want to turn that. If that's going on again, I have to try to turn it off on my side. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So here's the. Can you click on image 4, please?
Yep. People
can pause and read this if they want. I don't want to, waste time reading through this whole thing. If people are interested in my thorough response to the totality of Blake's proposal, they can read through these as a screen.
Yeah, I think I'm now very interested to hear the science. Like, if you want,
I didn't want to bore anyone. So it's like,
no, you're not. I'm just excited. I'm saying, like, I'm excited to hear what your research looks like, because I can already tell just by the thoroughness, and like, this is in your X post. I'm like, okay, I want to see that. Like, I assume that the science is going to be very compelling.
Well, if that's the case, then please bring back 3, please, and we'll go through the step by step. And this is, this isn't only really this part is not just to target Blake in particular. This is a critique of this assertion, this hypothesis. One moment. Okay, this type of the shape charge as a medium of a device of what happened to Charlie's neck. It's designed to penetrate, as I said, 400 millimeters of steel of armored vehicles, and that penetration is facilitated by a hypersonic jet, again, past the speed of sound, producing another sonic crack, which would create a big problem, which audio would definitely tell if there was a sonic crack local to Charlie's body underneath his shirt.
Would it obliterate his body also?
And I get into that as well, that the wound would render that this is not a bullet or anything. He was hit with a superheated jet of metal. Additionally, the shape charge categorically requires a large conical cavity, which the detonation deforms and compresses into a hypersonic jet of heated metal, and the cross pendant would not be suitable for housing the required conical cavity. Furthermore, a robust external casing is required to prevent the body of the shape charge from exploding radially and thus failing to direct the copper jet into the intended target. This is where the issue of molecular deflagration in contrast to detonation becomes relevant. And to stop right there really quick, is that it's an important delineation between deflagration and detonation. And in simple terms, what people would be most familiar with is gunpowder. Gunpowder is a deflagrant. It does not detonate. If gunpowder was a detonation, the chamber would have to be huge. A deflagration is the slow, not slow in terms relative to explosions, rather than detonation is very fast. So what happens with a bullet in a chamber is that the gunpowder is ignited and it pushes the bullet down the path of least resistance, which is the bullet down the barrel. And point being, it is not a detonation, it is deflagration. And the cross pendant could be manufactured to withstand deflagration, but not detonation. Because again, detonation is a very fast compression, a molecular compression and release of energy in all directions. So a cross pendant could not be built to withstand detonation. Deflagration, absolutely. Furthermore still, shaped charges must detonate at a precise standoff distance from the surface of what they are intended to destroy. This is accomplished via a contact, proximity, or command fuse. When a shaped charge is launched via an RPG launcher, for example, that's what's considered a kinetic shaped charge. It uses a contact proximity fuse. That's, most people are familiar with the RPG-7. It's the one in all the movies, and it's got a piezoelectric trigger on the.
Looks like an AK-47, but it's an RPG.
Right. Yes. It's often paired with the AK-47s or 74s. So it has a piezoelectric trigger on the tip and this is a precise standoff distance that when it makes contact with whatever it's intended to destroy, that contact fuse is what initiates the shape charge. And that shape charge, again, is the compression of the conical cavity that turns the copper into a superheated metal. It's really fascinating that penetrates up to 400 millimeters of armored steel. And if the shape charge is, one moment. I don't know why it's doing that. If the shape charge is too far, can you bring up number 4, please?
Yes, sir. Is this the right one?
Yes. If the shape charge detonates too far or too close from the surface of what it is intended to destroy, the hypersonic jet of heated copper will fail. If it's too close, the jet will fail to form into a cohesive jet. If it's too far, the jet will fail to penetrate. And this is why tanks in the Russia-Ukraine war are covered in cages of thin metal. And these cages are not intended to function as the tank's normal armor, kinetic armor that's just, it's thick, it doesn't want to be penetrated, and it's a kinetic armor. The sole purpose of these cages is to cause the shape charge to detonate via the contact proximity fuse, the triggering of that piezoelectric trigger. It's caused to basically cause a premature detonation prior to making contact with the tank armor and thereby rendering the shape charge ineffective. And the reason this is relevant is that if we're talking about and again, I'm granting all these hypotheses as we go further. It's like, okay, fine. Say they developed they put a miniaturized shape charge in this cross pendant. Say they got over the hurdle of deflagration versus detonation. Okay. You're then dealing with the standoff distance. This has to be incredibly precise. And then we get into the aerodynamic stability of a jet of copper, which is to say it is non-existent. Furthermore still, even if one were to hypothetically grant that all the aforementioned design physics constraints were resolved and that a functioning shape charge was successfully scaled down to fit within the cross pendant, the jet of copper would produce a secondary sonic crack local to Charlie. I mentioned this before. Additionally, the jet of copper would not be capable of remaining intact while traversing the space between the cross pendant where it was launched from and Charlie's neck. The jet of copper produces, I misspelled that, produced a shape charge. The jet of copper produced by a shape charge does not fly through the air as it is not aerodynamically stable. Even further, generously granting that the jet of copper somehow, magically, we're just going to say it does. It just remains intact somehow. It's not sufficiently aerodynamically stable to traverse that space. And then we get into the wound characteristics along with Charlie's shirt, which surely render multiple obvious indicators that Charlie was not struck by a conventional bullet of any realm.
Agree.
And the wound of a jet of copper is not going to hemorrhage the way Charlie's wound did. And I will get into a deep dive of the wound analysis. And I then tell him, I believe you are fixated on the use of a shape charge due to Brian Harpool's his stuttering misspeak on the Sean Bryan interview. And it's true, it's present. He says shape charge, but I really believe that Blake reads into that far too much. And this is not intended, lest I be called a Brian Harpool shill fed. This is not intended to manufacture cover for Brian Harpool, not in the slightest. This is only intended as a constructive interrogation of your proposal that a shape charge was used. And then this is here too. I mean, established proof if anyone wants it. Like, this is my dialogue with Blake here. I didn't immediately, when he violated my trust and started meshing my precise data as though he had discovered it, and to clarify this point too, I'm not, quote, mad at Blake because he, quote, stole my theory. I don't want credit for this. I don't want notoriety. I don't like social media. I know
we're hiding your we're hiding your identity.
I just don't want it. I'm just not interested. I'm interested in the truth. That is my motivation. But what I'm upset by is that the violation of trust, and that I really thought I found someone who he was totally on board. He said, that really makes a lot of sense. Yes, it should be anonymous. It shouldn't be on my profile. And I even told him then too, considering that some people are different. Blake likes social media. He likes, and he's been fighting with other people and all this stuff. So I told him, it's like, Blake, if you really, 2 months later, if we can get people to notice this, especially people outside of the investigative community, and 2 months later, after it's had the opportunity to not be attacked and discredited, not on its merits, but on do you hear what Blake Bednarz says? The guy who's like, whoever the persona is, so let's not give them anything to use to discredit it. The only thing that people who want to try to hide it have to contend with is you have to contend with the physics and the truth of this. There's no attacking the person. There's no strawmanning this. And I said, give it 2 months. If you really have just got to put your name on it, on what we developed.
As I said again, individual straws easy to break. Together, it's not so easy to break everybody.
together. Go ahead, but just give it time to just do its own thing on its own. And then this is me here at the end of this saying, you know what my theory is. I don't know why you're doing it this way. I'm referring to what's happened between us, and that he just disappeared and just chose to mesh this in this chaotic manner. It doesn't feel great, but I would still like to work together. You can be the face of it and get the views if you want. I just wanted a partner to help curate and spread the truth. I have the irrefutable factual evidence, both in simple terminology and physics derivations. What happened, man? I know your heart is in the right place, but this rushed, AI-prompted, falsifiable ONC shape charge proposal will be ripped to shreds and only serve to discredit what is so close to the truth.
So basically, it's like you recognize that, like, your vision was to put your science forward and then let the broader scientific community take it on and realize that it's true. And the absolute worst case scenario would be for someone to take it and then put it out.
Okay, I don't know. Blake is saying no, Allie. This is Allie Top Files. He hit me up and freaked me out. Hit him up? I don't know. It doesn't sound that this guy was looking for money. I don't like Blake. Okay.
Out partially with easily disproven stuff. So he made it way worse than if you would have just never contacted him in the first place.
Absolutely.
So, precisely. Yeah. So let's move on, because I don't want to run out of time, because like I said, I have a hard stop in an hour and 45 minutes, and I want to give you proper time to go through the science itself.
Totally.
So you're set up to do that today, right?
Yeah, let's see. Okay, really? Yes, I totally agree with that. Let's finish with him canceling on your show. Let's give me 5 to 7 minutes and I'll do that. So I have been waxing and waning between, he's drawn attention to, I'm the one that noticed, Blake is saying, I'm the one that knows it's a David Yurman box chain necklace and it's a David Yurman cross, and the class migrated, all this stuff. And then he canceled on your show. I have been waxing and waning between these, I've been really upset with him, and then saying, you know what, Blake, I'm sorry, I'd still like to work with you. And in one particular instance, before your show, I had just had it with him, and that is an instance in which I told him, you know what, my patience is gone, and I'm going to be super chatting the next show that you're on, and I don't care if I have to spend $1,000 in super chats to go over what you've done. I'm going to do it. And incidentally, that was your show, and wouldn't you know it, he didn't appear. And it worked out for me, because I'm a fan of you. I enjoy your show, and irrespective of my disagreement with your assertion that Charlie is still physically alive,
Okay. I'm just thinking, Blake didn't appear on Jesse's show. Now, Blake said his family was doing this intervention. I don't know. But then the next day, he's on with these other guys, and he's been back on the internet. So I guess the intervention didn't work with Blake. What's his family right now saying? So I don't know. I'm just saying that maybe Blake didn't come to Jesse's podcast that day because he was afraid Paul was going to show up and start, super chatting. It's a possibility, because if there was an intervention, this intervention for Blake to stop being on the internet because Lubbock, Texas is talking. My parents lived in Lubbock, Texas. So Blake, ask around for Dr. Wilcox. People would know. So anyway, my dad's known a lot of places, so am I. See, this is the thing. If everybody that I knew and my family knew, instead of canceling me, were like and subscribe and share and share with your friends. I keep on telling them, if you guys would start sharing this stuff. I told 2 friends who told 2 friends who told 2 friends. At Foxcroft, we learned that. Yeah, well, the little ladies there learned how to share and like on different things than I did. I'm not, whatever. And this is why the nouveau riche are taking over the country, because the old guard are too busy in their ivory towers, and then the nouveau riche just want to follow suit. So okay, yeah, when he just said that, he was so pissed off Well, Blake would have known he had it. He was that this Paul guy was pissed off. So maybe that's why Blake didn't come on. I don't know. Blake, it seems to me like a convincing person. I mean, he doesn't, he seems sincere, but he's also a salesman. Can't forget that.
I saw it as a fortuitous circumstance in which I could support you with super chats and expose Blake for what he'd been doing for a long time amidst me trying to be patient with him and give him all this stuff. And Blake bailed on your show and claimed that it was this family intervention thing with him. And in all honesty, I cannot.
He made a very large effort to sell me that narrative.
Yeah. And he sent me some audio clip. And in all honesty, I cannot say with absolute certainty that Blake wasn't going to bail on your show anyway, as I've been observing him struggle, trying to repeat the data that I shared with him to any degree of specificity. But, you know, for example, it's a high energy compound hexa something or other, y'all. It's a shape charge. It's like, well, what the hell, man? Didn't you come up with this? Okay, you know what? One more thing. We'll do the and then we will jump into my theory. Is it sterling silver? Is it stainless steel? Why doesn't the person who discovered all these things supposedly know if the cross is sterling silver or stainless steel? Just one moment. I'm talking as I'm looking for stuff. Video. Shit. Okay, here you go. This is a short one, and then we will get into. I'll just spill the beans on
the show.
My assertion
On the show.
Is there one you want me to put up?
Came up. Yeah, it's that last one, and you can clear the other
one.
That
says after first contact.
No, it says
5.
It says flake Bednarz.
Oh yeah. There you go.
The silver necklace. It's a soft metal, correct?
Yes, that one.
Okay.
Note his response to is this silver or stainess steel? This is the day.
And this was the day after he said that he retired and didn't come on my show. The next night.
Correct. And note his response and stuttering to the question of the most simple thing is that if he discovered this, he would know, is it sterling silver? Is it stainless steel? Take note of his response.
Okay.
Silver necklace. It's a soft metal, correct? Compared to other metals, correct? John?
Yeah, if it's silver, is it silver or stainless steel?
Oh, Blake, his necklace, was it silver or stainless steel?
Yeah, it's that stainless steel.
It's sterling silver.
Stainless
316 or 304. Probably 316.
So then it's harder.
Yeah, it's softer than steel, but it's.
So yeah.
So it's basically like, hey, was the thing in his left hand or right hand? He's all shit. I don't know.
I don't know. And again, I don't mean to like roll around in the dirt with this, but it's just been incredibly frustrating for me, especially in the midst of Blake's current contention at the moment is that Candace is surreptitiously, she's hiding things and she's not releasing stuff. And it's like, well, I mean, methinks thou dost protest too much, Blake. You're accusing others of that which you are guilty. It's like, why are you hiding and running from me, dude? Why are you acting like you came up with these things and stuttering when you're supposed to be able to elucidate this sort of thing? What's the cross pendant made of? What's the relevance of the migration of the necklace clasp? Why to any of this? It makes me question. It's like, what's Blake's order? What's his ethos? What's his order of priorities? Is it the revealing the truth, or is it social media notoriety and clicks and exposure and credit? He'll do this song and dance of, oh, I'm just a normal guy, and if I would have known that all this would have happened, I never would have done it. He says that out of one end of his mouth, but 2 seconds later, he's just profoundly envious of you in particular and Candace, and they shouldn't be driving the bus, and why do they have all the views and all this stuff? But I think that's
me and Candace, me and Candace are
you and Candace in particular are, I would say, like the focal point.
There are a lot of creators that are deep dicking me compared to them. I mean, Candace for sure, but I guess I am the best looking one, so there's that.
Obviously,
yeah.
So let's get into that's enough on Blake. If people want to hear more, there is more we can get into.
Erica Kirk said Charlie Kirk had the St. Michael medal on that day.
Not better looking than Brigitte Macron. I couldn't resist that one.
It's rectangular. Could be the charge.
You know what? I'm glad that got asked, because we're going to get right into.
Perfect. Let me run through these super chats really quick here. And
can you clear these images out and I can prep these? I don't know why.
Yes.
I can't. Never mind. Do your thing. I can remove. Go on.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So Cami says, appreciate your content. Thank you very much. No one cares about the drama. Cool. Did you hear a few episodes ago that Candace read a super chat about Charlie being alive, and she said she knows for certain that he is in fact dead? I hope she's wrong, man. I really do. I hope she's wrong. I mean, obviously, I've always said Candace, of course, has tons of information that I do not have, and is closer to the entire thing. Like I said, the entire reason that I did the series was because I thought that I'd figured it out, and I was trying to put it in front of her so she would see it. But it's neither here nor there. That's why I never got bent out of shape about any of it. I just like talking and entertaining people and making jokes. And then if I land on something smart every once in a while, that's good. James says, list of people who have been mean to Blake at no fault of his own. Jesse Danks, Candace, Paul, Kelly, list goes on and on. That is a fair assessment, dude. Candace says, I love you and your wife together. Georgia Tucci expresses, thank you very much. And I love those girls too. Realty is a new member. Realty, you can send me on Discord your show, and I'll check it out. I'll put it up on here. Scotty, off topic says, if you haven't seen the diss track Bilzerian reached on Nick, I did see it, dude. I emailed you. Yeah, no, I saw it. And I cannot put that on my YouTube for sure. You know, they're not super keen on, you know, a lot of the stuff. It's like unfortunate. X is a cesspool of like, do whatever you want, which is very unfortunate because like I see it and I'm like, oh my God, I could go, like I probably should just start doing content and then just posting it on X just to blow up.
Elon Musk, let's just say I don't think it's quite exactly what he thought everything would be.
On X, but like, you know, we only got so much bandwidth in. DJ Inferno says, Blake said his page, his rules, he publishes what he wants to publish. Isn't that the same thing he whined about Candace and not showing his video the way he wanted to show in the story? Oh, look at that logic.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at that logic. Yes, that is exactly accurate. Eric Kirk said, I just did that one. Waywardson, what's up, dude? Blake saying my show, I play what I want is hilarious considering his crash out over Candace's non-compliance. Exactly, dude. That is, I mean, like, that's funny. Like, that is like so laughable, dude. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
This is less a personal attack, as personally offended as I am, and it's more the confounding. Like you're doing the thing that you're accusing others of.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And that to me, that was like my whole thing with like I was never mad. This is like literally like my interaction with him was like, he sent me a recording of his dad yelling like, I'm getting my balls broken on the golf course. He's like, I'm getting cut out of the will, man. I got whatever. I'm like, I'm really sorry, man. That sucks. But listen, family first, you know, of course. And then he's on that dude's channel the next night. I was like, wow, that's audacious. And then Celtic says, Jesse, it was not a crucifix, but a big ass St. Michael's medal. Okay, yeah. So Paul's gonna get into that metal bought by Erica for protection, apparently after quote witch's curse. Well, shit, it didn't work very well then.
Yeah,
you know, or it worked perfectly, depending on what's actually going on. And Schmitty, welcome to the membership area. Tons of great stuff. Start at the beginning. The oldest member stuff is a bunch of stories that I told that I could never tell and monetize. So check that out and enjoy. All right, let's rock and roll, Paul.
My thing is, what's the objective of all of these podcasters? Like, subscribe, make money, have lots of members, be real popular. You're parasites on society. Sorry. You all have been treating the homemakers and trophy wives and stuff. The parasites on society. See, the real ones. I mean, the ones with brains and balls. Well, obviously, we don't have real balls. But the real ones, oh yeah, they sit around and gossip. And then they go and they kick butt when they find out what's going on. Instead of just gossiping to gossip. That's the ladies in the country club are the ones who do that. That's why they're all like Stepford wives. I mean, hasn't anybody ever known or noticed that as soon as you go to start working for Trump, you get the makeover, the Trump makeover. Looks like a Stepford wife. I mean, come on.
Away.
I'm glad that people are talking about the pendants and the chain now, because that's what we're going to get into. And Jesse, if you can upload this video, this is pause it real quick. This is a never before seen. This is my presentation, part of what I've been working on, and I was planning on overdubbing and narrating this. This is all out of order. I wasn't planning to do this. I
definitely did not ban Blake. You guys, real quick. Like if he's gone, he bounced. I don't ban people.
This is no worries. This is part of my video that I plan to overdub, but I'm just showing it. This is early preview for everyone, and I want everyone to consider, what their thoughts were on the tensile strength, in particular, of what they imagined Charlie Kirk's necklace to be. Please just watch this.
Okay.
I'm weighing it here. It's 766.6 grams. Very heavy necklace. And then this is my tensile stress test.
This a little quickly. So, yeah. Okay.
And if you, as a point of reference, the second E in freedom is the center of Charlie's shirt. So what this is showing is that the migration of the necklace clasp, and the reason for the necklace clasp migrating is that it's possible, and Blake, if this sounds familiar, it's because I told Blake this. He's basically trying to say exactly what I'm about to say. Due to asymmetrical mass distribution and gravity and friction, if you are wearing a pendant that has, and the bail of that pendant has a internal diameter that is larger than the external diameter of the necklace chain that is in it, especially if that necklace chain is smooth and the corners are rounded, as this box chain is, it'll slide through it freely. And throughout the day, especially if you're throwing hats and moving around, that the clasp of that necklace will migrate to what is technically called the vertex of the catenary curve. And it will migrate down to the center of the necklace on the bottom. And in this case, it has pushed the cross over to the under the D. And I know people might be wondering, like, what is this guy talking about? This becomes highly relevant if you notice where the cross is currently aligned with, in particular to Charlie's, the left side of his neck. So why don't I just dump it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rock and roll.
All right. One moment. Got to pay attention to what I'm uploading. Please bear with me. Jesse, talk for 30 seconds, please.
Oh, that's easy. That is easy. I don't even know, like, so many directions I can go. The video, did it actually, you know what? Did anybody see the video that Gabrielle and I did because like the video I did yesterday about the Erica Kirk and Charlie thing with the exclusive clip from Elizabeth, that video did mega numbers, but for some reason, the one that I did on Play with Matches on me and Gabrielle's, which is way better video because Gabrielle's on it with me, that video bombed for some reason. I don't really know why, but you guys should definitely go watch. You know, people's lack of sexual experience is always much more funny when I have a female to, like, you know.
God, Jesse. It was funny today. I was listening to him and somebody said, "You need to talk less." And he said, "I'm a freaking podcaster on my own podcast. If I don't talk, you're just going to sit here and look at me." It was funny. That was stupid.
You know, bounce things off of. That video is fire, dude. What else have we got? Let me read. Yeah, hey, Danks wants to get dumped on. I've always had to tell Danks to, you know. Let me see. Okay, let me see. So, oops, wait.
But see, the thing is the way that I heard Bays. Was it Bays and Danks? And I forget. It was one night, eat late, and I mean, they were going off on Blake. I was like, my God, you ladies. This is how ladies behave. This is not how men behave. And ladies, and I use that term, cackling hens.
And this one, wait, where did I missed, dude, that Witch's Curse. You want to know what a crazy development is on that Witch's Curse thing was when Candace released that the magazine that put that story out, the Witch's Curse thing, was founded 4 months before this happened. And basically every single part of that story, none of it could be dated past like 3 or 4 months. The magazine was brand new. The online persona of like the witches that did the curse were all 2-3 months.
Yeah, there's, I mean, everywhere you turn, there's a detail, evidence of a psyop. Very, very carefully orchestrated and planned psyop. And this is the thing, like when Candace will pull out or people pull out, yeah, like just before 48 hours before, Charlie Kirk sent a message saying that he was afraid, I mean, this was planned much more than 48 hours. So any text messages that were sent within a month or 2 months or whatever, I think it might have been planned before June, but definitely starting in June, they decided. Charlie was getting out of line. He wasn't drinking Kool-Aid and he wasn't passing out Kool-Aid. And when you stop doing that, I mean, this is how protection rackets, this is how the mob works. What do you think everybody's dealing with? I mean, come on. That was in The Godfather. That was one of the points of the book of The Godfather was, yes, a Sicilian Italians coming here. uh, I mean, this is the same game that all of you Englishmen are playing. And, you know, this was the whole thing. It was a protection racket. I mean, I guess the first settlers who came, the first to come, the first boat, you know, the first boats of people, that was pretty egalitarian. You're all real poor. But once a couple of generations go by, you know, everybody, there was land for everybody. It was giving everybody kind of a free or an equal start. But and so the hardworking rose to the top. But then you have others who arrive and be like, oh, but I don't want to have to work that hard to get that nice boat that they got over there, or that nice house. Well, I'm just going to try and, you know, engañar, the run a con. I mean, this exists in every society of the world. So, you know, now we've got factions all over the frickin' place wanting to play queen and king for a day while the country goes to shit.
Probably would be pretty easy to, oh, wait a minute, actually. And the name of that magazine is the same name as the hurricane in the movie Snake Eyes. So, you know, just another one of those things. Unbelievable, you know, coincidental connections between the movie Snake Eyes and the thing that happened with Charlie, which means we're either in a simulation or someone planned the entire thing around that. You know what I mean? Including the fact that the main character was going to get shot in the neck in the exact same spot. That's the part that I never hear anybody talk about. Who's like, oh, you know, well, yeah, I looked at Snake Eyes. I'm like, have you actually?
Yeah, but it's like the Charlie Kirkland and, you know, I mean, there coincidences can happen. I agree. With the cult stuff, the Hollywood stuff, yeah, it's real strange. But then there's also, we can't fixate on some of this stuff because, I mean, even if you delve into with the Hollywood, what are you going to really find? I don't know what you could find there. I don't know. If anybody got any ideas, I'm open.
Actually looked at Charles Kirkland getting shot in that movie because you could literally just like cut him out of the movie, put Charlie in, and it looks exactly the same except for the outfit.
I'm ready if you are.
Oh yeah, rock and roll, dude. I was just bullshitting, giving you time.
So yes, I'm just going to spill it, and it seems out of order. So there's going to be a lot of things for people to research. But what's happened with, you know, everyone's being kind of at a loss for like what exactly caused Charlie's shirt to move this way, what caused his necklace chain fracture along the trajectory in which it did. And it's common for people to seek answers in what we know. Thus, the speculation begins with varying degrees of knowledge and experience with firearms and known calibers, bullet types, and ballistic data. And in addition to that, there's the common correlation that people have made with the surreptitious placement of explosives and electronic devices, you know, the whole pager thing. But the prevailing factor, in my opinion, and I can demonstrate this, this is just not the platform in which I was intending to do it, but I'm going to attempt here just to brush through it really quick. The prevailing factor, which misleads those who are sincerely seeking the truth, is that they're deriving their hypotheses and ideas from their direct or indirect experience with well-known and widely available projectiles, ballistic data, and all things like this. And the reality is that what impacted Charlie was entirely unique and customized for this particular purpose. And I'm going to get into that. So should the public, you know, become at first presentation of this, it's likely to be met with instantaneous disbelief or denial on an individual basis. You know, it seems I'm basically saying that I know this seems like Inspector Gadget, James Bond nonsense stuff, but I have a mental experiment for this. Is that if you ponder we're in a world where car engines don't exist, and then you're explaining to someone that you know, okay, so you're going to turn the ignition, and that's going to cause the starter to turn the flywheel, and then the engine is going to spin, and then there's going to be this precise oxygen and fuel mixture. People would say like this just sounds ludicrous. So in knowing that, and this has been part of my predicament, is how do I express these highly complex materials and systems to everyday people, and simultaneously, introduce them to things like these things exist. One of them, for example, is MEMS, MEMS, microelectronic mechanical systems. It's what's in your phone that makes your phone capable of a number of things. But the thing that people are most often associated with is what makes your phone capable of switching from landscape mode to portrait mode. MEMS technology is something for people to start researching. But so the
how do you spell that? What's it?
MEMS?
MEMS. Okay.
Microelectronic mechanical systems. So just to spill the beans, and I'm owning, and I know that people are going to be like, what in the Inspector Gadget James Bond nonsense is this? I want those people to.
It won't be dumber than Palm Pistol, so you're good, dude.
Okay, you know what? Cool, thank you. That makes me feel so much better.
There's nothing on earth that can possibly be less likely than the fucking Palm Pistol, so you're good. Okay.
Well, here it is then. Charlie was what I believe to correctly defined as martyred by what I classify as a high density subcaliber. High density as in its materials. It was not Jack.
Now the thing is with the Palm Pistol, I've always said, and I actually learned this in one of my classes because I came up with I thought was kind of like a crazy idea. It was a business environment class. It was a case study. I remember exactly what it was about. Banks, and they couldn't do something, but if they had changed their charter, they would have been able to do it. And I was like, they could change their charter anyway. And I was like, but that's crazy. And then lo and behold, when the thing came up, it was like, oh yeah, that's what they did. I was like, oh God, I should have raised my hand. See what I was like, see, there's no such thing as a crazy idea. Now, and I'm the first one to say we got a problem here. Okay, I want the craziest. I want all your ideas, whatever they are, crazy. My joke now are the beepers for the cashier for when they order something, and then when the order's ready, they're going to come and get their beeper, and they're all constantly leaving with the beepers. So I'm like, these things are expensive, and one of those beeper box, like, okay, 30 beepers. Oh, that gotta cost at least $500. So you gotta buy a new one every freaking year. And of course, I'm sure if I go to the companies and say, okay, I got an idea. With the Charlie Kirk assassination, they got these things that can, the electrical charge and the beeper. But we might not want to electrocute them or blow them up. So let's not do that one. But we could put an alarm in there or something that it would go off. The thing is I'm sure these guys, no. This way they have to buy more. They have to buy a new one each year. What do you want to bet? Anyway, there's one guy who comes in. He's like, oh, don't you give me any of your electrical charge beepers. But see, so as I say, no crazy ideas, just afterwards, okay, that's not going to work. Yeah, that's okay, let's put that. We could
jacketed copper, specifically bespoke design, tungsten iridium carbide, which we'll get into that later, a high density subcaliber subsonic projectile that entered the left side of his neck, and the wound path for this projectile was not downward into C4, 5, 6, 7, T1 into coming to rest in his subscapular fossa behind his shoulder blade. This projectile, and this explains the wound characteristics, the blood flow, the decorticate posturing. This projectile was really quickly before I get into this, very interesting that as complex as all this is, it is very intuitive. People are able to understand this if they apply themselves. Do you remember one of the day this was happening? I know he's got a reputation. Some people don't like him, but I've watched all this stuff. I enjoy his viewpoints. Gary, and he's an authority on ballistics and guns and such, but it was him that was covering, and it wasn't just him. Everyone was theorizing. If you remember, Charlie was wearing an incredibly low profile bulletproof vest, and it was this big tragedy that people were really speculating that the round it impacted the upper.
Gary.
Left corner of this super low profile bulletproof vest and ricocheted upward. Now, I just want to preface this with that. To me, to my knowledge, it's that's so interesting to me because it's as though people intuited correctly, not what happened exactly, but an element of that is correct. The upward trajectory of this wound path, the wound path is indeed upward. And this subsonic projectile entered the left side of his neck at an upward angle. It severed his left common carotid artery, potentially along with the left jugular vein, proceeding upward about 4 inches through muscle and tissue, penetrating the left base of his skull in the occipital bone, which I'm going to get into all this. I'm not just spouting off data. I want to show my work on this. Penetrated the occipital bone, continuing through his brainstem, medulla, cerebellum, temporal lobe, and embedding into the occipital lobe, the left posterior hemisphere of his brain. And this projectile was designed to penetrate skin, tissue, and muscle in the thin occipital skull while not having sufficient energy to exit the skull. And there are multiple observational physical phenomena which serve to corroborate this evidence that the projectile was launched from Charlie's cross pendant. And I understand what, what in the Inspector Gadget sci-fi James Bond are you talking about? So here are the things that I want to point to is, item number 1 is the origin, trajectory, and height apex of the left collar of Charlie's shirt, the fracture point, trajectory, and height apex of the fractured end of Charlie's necklace. And item 3 is the synchronized height apex of both the left collar of Charlie's shirt and the fractured end of his necklace. Most people probably know exactly what image I am talking about with that, but I will share it here with you now.
Don't worry. I know exactly which one you're talking about, where he's like this.
Yes, it does not have blood. This is a highly important image.
Yeah, that's the exact. Oops.
If I could stake, if I could
this is the exact one that I was envisioning. Yeah.
Yes, if I could direct the attention of tenured physicists to anything, and say, please note what's happening here, it would be this image. I just uploaded the second one, but leave it on here for now. So as I'm saying, if people can look at this image, what I'm referring to is we have the fractured end of this necklace chain at high velocity. It's near Charlie's ear, and that is the U-shaped. Oh, you know what? I need to share this image because I know there's been a lot of. I don't think we can share anything beyond this moment. Is like the limit of what we can show. Like if you show it's that image I showed you before. Don't worry, you've seen it, the one I just uploaded. Just to establish
this one.
No, next one, the 5.2.
Oh, yeah, this one.
Oh, yep. That is not the edited one. Get that out of there. Okay, so go back to the synchronized height. So what we have here is the fractured end, Charlie's right, or viewer's left, but Charlie's right side. We have the fractured end of his necklace chain traveling upward out of his shirt. And this is what has perplexed many of the people who have a scientific background as to, what in the hell is going on? This is so strange. Ponder it like this. This is what we're talking about is essentially Newton's third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And my assertion is that a microprojectile, and I'm going to give the dimensions here, and I have proof of why I say dimensions this precise. What I'm estimating to be 3 millimeters in diameter and 33 millimeters in length, and it's known as a fin discarding sabot or a flechette. Again, 3 millimeters in diameter at its widest point, roughly 33 millimeters long, and I get these dimensions for this projectile on the basis of the dimensions of the cross pendant, which I've extensively measured, and it was launched. So then you get into what's its aerodynamic means of stabilization. Going to get into that, and what's its mass. Its mass is roughly 2.5 grams because it's constructed of tungsten, iridium, carbide, and that is roughly for a item of those dimensions, roughly 2.25 grams, which is incidentally, as something people are familiar with to equate it to, is the average weight of the standard 22 caliber bullet is 2.6 grams. So you've got the 22 calibers.
Can you translate that into grain weight?
Grain. It depends. I don't have that offhand. If you could, I've got way too many open tabs, but I have this later. I'm really just trying to blast through this and introduce it. So then the factors for this, someone's understandable questions would be like, okay, you're saying that a projectile was launched from this pendant. Okay, fine. That's all good and fine. What is the, I got it. What is the means of aerodynamic stabilization is one thing you're going to have to contend with, and then the mass. But first, we're focusing on the necklace chain and the t-shirt collar and the movement of the t-shirt, which incidentally also caused people to think like, is this a low profile bulletproof vest under there? What you can view the behavior of the t-shirt as is basically a map of the pressure wave that was taking place beneath Charlie's shirt. And this is why, this is for John Bray, right? I dig his work, and Jordan Henshaw. They're keenly making these observations of, okay, the behavior of Charlie's shirt, what it indicates, and it originates in the center of his sternum, and then it has a focal point to the left side of his neck. Now, the reason for that, as I pointed to earlier, with the orientation of the cross, given that the clasp has migrated downward to what is called the vertex of the funicular or catenary curve, pushing the cross to Charlie's left, aligning it with the left common carotid artery. So, I just ask, what are your questions, Jesse?
So the first, like we were talking about on the phone, I was saying that basically, if you remove like anybody, they remove themselves from anything that's been discussed after the trial, or I'm sorry, after the event and until now. The most important thing that I think people should consider is that there's a murder trial going on right now, And there is incredibly viable and defensible science that demonstrates that Charlie wasn't even shot with a projectile from a firearm. And so my question is always like, because I'm not a science, the science part of it is not my bag. I judge behavior and then I analyze the overarching case. Why would they be lying about this? Who could be involved? So on and so forth, et cetera. What can I conclude from that? And so as you get into this, where, you know, what you're talking about here as it relates to like, you know,
quite frankly, I'm like, you know, Jesse, with all due respect, what qualifications do you have to look at this? Like, my qualifications is I've been working on court reform and studying the problems in the judicial process for 20 years. Jesse, who was some reality show winner.
Essentially like a small detonation under his shirt. It's whether it's a projectile that, you know, whether it's a sabot that entered his neck and then, you know, stuck in his brain absent, you know, and somehow cauterized the wound so it's not bleeding as much as it would, or if it's any other thing. If it's not a 30-06 round that hit Charlie, then they should be presenting this in court as soon as the trial starts. And they're not going to. Like, they're not going to present any of this. They're not going to present a single thing related to the contradictions that you're pointing out here. They're not going to present any of the timeline contradictions that Barron has been pointing out as it relates to, like, oh, they said he's arrested now, but you know, he somehow was on Discord, all of that. They're not going to present any of that stuff. They're certainly not going to present any of the stuff that I've, you know, me, Jordan, or Kelly have brought up. But like at the end of the day, like they're
not. See, this is what is absolutely incredible. And I posted a video. Danks was the one who was talking to with two women. And he, you know, he's like, you know what? I mean, and it kind of just came to him, but he was right. He was like, this is just, it's the way the system's set up. I mean, you know, this gets into my big beef with Andrew Brettler, who is Prince Andrew's lawyer. He's Russell Brand's lawyer. I tried to contact Russell Brand. Oh, Lord, that guy's, he's really in an ivory tower. Saying, look, I've been studying the feminists. They're afraid of me. Put me on the stand as an expert. Maybe I can't, you know, give any witness or any testimony about the person who is accusing you, but I can certainly give testimony about the Me Too movement and the motivation of these women, and testimony about my research into that. For example, there's one woman who said she was coached. These people are being coached by the psychologists, by the lawyers, also the journalists. I've got a lot of questions for Tara Palmieri about this stuff. Because, you know, my thing is like, wait a second, all of you like champions, you know, oh, these poor women. You've been giving me the middle finger for 20 years and saying, oh, shut up, you know, old lady, gold digger, who married her meal ticket husband and you lost him, and you should just go and jump off the bridge and not try and steal jobs from us, young kids. I mean, that's the attitude I've been getting from all y'all. I'll tell you, I'm not somebody you want to pick a fight with. Really not, particularly over my children. And this is what this is about. My children and their future. This is why men, oh, you have no idea the subversive war that's going on amongst the women. Jesse on fire. Jesse even admitted, oh, the men, they only care about women if they want to sleep with them. Yeah, and see, this is all about you know, one's DNA, progeny, um, assuring your DNA continues. I mean, that's what I mean, even in the literature of the experts, they also say that.
They're not even going to look at any of this stuff. And so like the reason why I don't care what people's conclusions are, I'll put them on and let them kind of lay it out is, and this being a perfect example is, I think we're all agreeing with each other. And so
and the courts need to be cleaned up.
When you're running,
it's the manner, and if the lawyers were doing their jobs, for example, with my lawyers, every time if you would just tell them, you have to submit this evidence, argue this, submit that, argue that, would have been no problem. Boom, boom, bam. My grandfather, he was the first white lawyer to successfully defend a black man in the Deep South, 1910, and it was his first case out of college. Now, I didn't inherit my father's intelligence in medicine, but I definitely did my grandfather's in law. I challenge anybody. Baron Coleman, go through all this stuff. Challenge me on anything. Now, we're talking about human rights conventions, constitutions, and civil and penal codes. We can throw some laws in there, but, you know, that's what's going to be the discussion, the basis of the discussion.
You know, I mean, your theory lines up with mine because I think something detonated under his shirt also. And if you have a scientific method that can demonstrate that that's true, then we're all aligned that whatever's going on over here with this kid who's on trial for his life is not what happened. And he's probably going to get convicted anyway if they don't do this. But like, as it relates to what you're presenting, I think for just the most basic, thing that you could prove that would disprove the official story is that if I'm
concerned, and see, this is also why that, they make a deal, because he most probably will be convicted, and plea deal. Poor kid.
The reaction that everybody sees from the shirt, the wound, whether it's a wound or it's not a wound or whatever, if it is initiated by whatever's underneath the shirt, then that basically disproves the entire prosecution's case. And so if the science does that, then I'm very curious to look at how that, like the inertia and all that stuff.
But the thing is, everybody would have made a lot of money off of this. All you podcasters, and some even have become stars. One of them was pointing out, like Baron Coleman, you never heard of him before this. Now he's become a star. Oh my God. He was talking about his kids. Oh yeah, we try and keep my, now that I've become famous, like we try and keep my kids like, gotta be quiet while dad's, in there.
I appreciate that, and I really understand that, and I'm following it too. My thing is that, inherent to behaviors, they are hard to read. People act weird. They're nefarious and surreptitious and pernicious and deceitful, and they act strange even when they're innocent. And we see this.
I mean, this guy. I'm like, buddy, you've been hanging out with a lot of people that I know, right? You listen to something like that, you're like, oh gosh, this people doesn't know very many nice people, do they?
It's, exemplified in the critique of the audience remembers. It's everything from like, oh, these gestures, are they benign? Are they circumstantial? Are they a coincidence? And I know there's the ones over Dan Flood and Mikey McCoy and all these other things. And I understand why people are fixated on these. But what I like to draw direct people's attention to is, remember the kid who's just like got his hands together and talk about synchronized moves with like the impact on Charlie. So this is, I don't discount like paying attention to, yes, people often betray what's really going on inside them. They're oftentimes not able to be as deceptive as they're attempting to be, but I prefer to focus on what the physics can't lie. It cannot deceive. The necklace chain cannot, it can't make up a story as to what caused it to fracture. If we know what it's comprised of, if we know we're going to get into force vectors and the trajectory that this necklace chain took, that expresses the amount of force and the direction of force that was imparted on it. So Jesse, I took that one off that was not edited, And if you can see, it's a 5.2 millimeter clasp link. If you can upload that one, please.
Oh yeah. So, oops, no.
Oh, no.
The one right next to it, right here.
Yes. So that one I edited. I took out all the I took out the blood with that one. So this is I know a lot of people have said that this is there's speculation that this is a tube. I can corroborate that this is a chain. But again, this is an intro. This is not my lengthy disquisition. This is, in fact, and I have a high familiarity with jewelry, with sterling silver, with David Yurman. I've purchased these necklaces, as everyone saw in that video that I shared earlier, subjected it to the tensile stress. And these are examples here. So I zoomed in on what you're seeing, the bottom of that necklace chain. I hope, it's obvious what I'm showing here, right? Okay. Yeah. So it is what's dangling there at the end, because I've heard some people have said like the chain broke mid-link. That is, they said that it didn't break at the clasp. We don't know where the clasp is. That is in fact incorrect. The chain did fracture at its weakest point, which is that picture on the upper left, the shepherd hook portion that is bent due to force being applied to it. And then there's the opposite, what I refer to as the U or the horseshoe portion with the bar in it. When the necklace chain is connected and there is tensile stress, there's pulling apart. The shepherd hook is the thinnest part. That is what fails. And when you consider, I know this is the thing too, and this is what I would like help with, but I believe that I can do, is that with this terminology that may sound intimidating and complex to people, I promise it really isn't. People are likely familiar with elastic potential energy. What that is in the everyday expression is everyone knows when you launch a rubber band with your thumb, put the rubber band around your thumb, and then you pull it back with your other thumb and you release it. What that is the release of elastic potential energy. And in this instance, that is the release of elastic potential energy along what is defined as a 1D force vector. It is along one plane, and I promise this makes sense. But let me know if I'm explaining this in ways that are, if you're following. Let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the quandary with how the necklace chain fracture becomes is this: that the proposal has been that this was a fracture due to the temporary wound cavitation of Charlie's neck. Because, the official narrative. Why did the necklace chain break? Well, it's the temporary wound cavitation expanded his neck from the kinetic energy dump into his neck from the 30-06 projectile that expanded his neck. So that would mean this is a 26-inch long necklace. It would have had to expand his neck to 26 inches with sufficient force to fracture the necklace chain. I encourage people to think about what I demonstrated with the actual necklace chain. But even and further and beyond that, the fracturing of a necklace chain with the example of temporary wound cavitation would be a 2D force vector. Think of this like in your mind's eye, you can think of a person wearing a necklace and their neck expanding, or think of it as a closed 26-inch necklace around the equator of a ball, a basketball, or whatever, whatever size it is, as such that it's fitting perfectly along that equator, and you just keep filling up the ball, so you're just filling up the ball and producing 2D force vector stress distributed along the entirety of that chain. Mm-hmm. The chain is going to fracture at its weakest point, and when it does, the trajectory that the chain takes is going to be definitively different than that of the trajectory a chain takes when it is fractured due to a 1D force vector. And this is my point, is that if the chain, we know that the clasp was located proximal to the vertex of the curve, a vertex of the catenary curve at the bottom of Charlie's necklace chain near the pendant. If the clasp failed at that location due to a 2D force vector, this is so much easier to illustrate in demonstration, but I'm trying to do it verbally here. The necklace chain would have flown out in a way that it would have been intercepted by the inside of his shirt and not launched straight upward, vertically straight out of the right collar of his shirt.
This actually I do understand what you're saying here.
Awesome, cool, yeah. Sweet. I'm self-conscious and worried that I'm not.
I got you, dude. Like, yeah, that makes sense. It's all about like the direction that the detonation is going to throw. It's like if it's this way, then it's going to do one thing. If it's this way, it's going to do something else. Like, yeah, I got you.
Yes. Okay. Great. Fantastic. So this is and what is going to impart. I wrote. This is my. I want to go through this. This is actually. It's quite funny because it's somewhat of a riddle, and it sounds really hoity-toity and whatever. But I would love to run through this and simplify it for people. If they apply themselves, as complex as it sounds, I promise it's not. And that is what, and I'll explain each one of these. Mm-hmm. What would impart a force vector to the vertex of a vertically oriented continuous catenary curve? And what that means, the vertex of a catenary curve is the bottommost portion of a necklace chain. In your mind's eye, just picture a human being wearing a necklace chain, and a catenary curve is what's formed with no pendant. We're talking no pendant with a catenary curve. It's just the curvature that a chain or line forms under its own weight and gravity.
So you're saying, you're basically saying that the connection for the chain, because they always kind of circle around your neck, is at the bottom. The pendant is here. That's basically on top of it. You're saying that if you're going to shoot a projectile, which is going to be aimed towards his neck, then the force is going to be going down and out.
Yes, precisely. Newton's third law: for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Yes.
Yep.
Great. Yeah. So and that force That's fantastic. You basically, congratulations, Jesse. You answered the question. I'll go through the rest of this, but you've already answered it. What would import?
I did it for kindergartners.
He just did it. Jesse just did it. So I'll run through the complex stuff, but yeah, that's fantastic. What would impart force vector to the vertex of a catenary curve constructed? Again, this is important. Constructed of sterling silver that is 5.2 millimeter box chain with laser welded and burnished closed linkage. Again, the delineation that I have in my long presentation that I've been editing. That I would love help from someone who's good with video editing and 3D animation software. I would love help with this. It's more than a difference in degree, it's a difference in kind, the difference between closed linkage in a box chain and open linkage. And if this force is to a degree which, that upon exceeding the tensile threshold of the material, which is sterling silver, the force would cause the funicular-oriented box chain to fracture and render the spontaneous release of that accumulated elastic potential energy, it would project the portion of the chain that was not still bound by the pendant. In the picture with Charlie, please bring up that the synchronized height one, please.
This one?
So, yes, what we see here, the reason for this is that the cross pendant on Charlie's shirt is still attached. It's attached to the other end, the shepherd hook end of the necklace.
And how can you tell that?
I will. Okay, you know what? I will show.
But let me ask you this. So again, because this is what I asked you offline too. It's the assumption, and this is I can't help myself. I have to go to the thing that I've been looking at. It's the assumption of what is going on under the shirt relies on the fact that it relies on the fact that this, first of all, the wound is real, right? If the wound is not real, then something else could be going on under the shirt to just make Charlie go like this, make it look like he's being hit from the front. And it's there are assumptions that are it's if the conclusion is that Charlie is hit in the neck, it doesn't bleed, right? You see a wound, but it doesn't bleed as much as it should, or bleeds a lot, and then it stops bleeding. Then you have to kind of fit what are we looking at into that conclusion? Whereby if that conclusion is not real, then that would change the entirety of what you're actually looking at, right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm not saying that's not. I'm not saying that is what's going on, but I'm just saying
I understand. Yeah, to get into the wound analysis a little bit. First, there's I don't know if the people have likely noticed this. There's somewhat of a delay in the blood flow from when there's obviously.
Oh, I did notice that. Yes,
the shirt comes up, and then there's almost a delay in blood flow, and that is a common phenomena that occurs. The cause for the delay of blood flow is due to the laminar fluidic dynamic suction of what happens when a projectile is going into the flesh. Essentially, the downward gushing and delay of blood is an indicator as to the trajectory and velocity of the projectile. And what we see is this blood is coming downward because the trajectory is upward, essentially pulling the blood and tissues up with it, and its velocity produces a form of laminar fluidic suction. And once that force ceases, there is a dumping of the blood from that cavity that has been created by the projectile. And this degree of arterial rupture would be accompanied by just a huge amount of blood splurting and spraying if Charlie's heart was still beating. And that becomes another issue is the absence of blood, as you're discussing. And let's talk about the wound analysis for a little bit. So I know there's a conjecture over, was this the left common carotid artery, the LCCA, or was it the jugular vein that was hit? And some people have said it looks to be the jugular vein because the blood is darker than they would expect it to be. The reason these things are different, I can explain this in simple terms. The left common carotid artery is fed from the aortic valve of the heart, and the aortic valve is the most high pressure, the most high blood pressure in a living human body, and that is because it is where the most freshly oxygenated blood is being pumped out of the heart to be distributed to the rest of the body. And you have the aortic valve, and then 4-6 inches up, it depends on the size of the person, you have their left common carotid artery. Point being is that the freshly oxygenated blood coming out of the heart through the aortic valve into the LCCA is highly pressurized. And then now we're going to discuss these terms. What I'm about to bring up are the distal and proximal wound sites of a arterial laceration.
Gabrielle just called me twice in a row. I'm going to pull this up for you, and then I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to call her, and I'll call it.
Should I just keep going?
Yeah, just keep going. Which one?
You can just leave it here. I'm going to discuss wound. I can't show any of this obviously on YouTube.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be back in a second.
So what we see in the obviously it's very mysterious, and to those who don't intuit or understand what's going on, is that the dumping of blood is what we see. People are correct to point out that we don't see what's referred to as pulsatile flow, which is what you would expect if the heart was still beating. Most especially given that if we're talking about the left common carotid artery in its relation to the aortic valve, these are merely inches away. And first, let's define the terms of what is meant by proximal and distal regions. You can think of proximal as proximate, close to, and distal as distant, further away from. So when I refer to if you think about an arterial wound as the severing of an artery, so you've got what was one hose and now it's been cut, so there's two ends of that hose. And this hose that we're talking about is the left common carotid artery. And in terms of what proximal to what? Distant from what? For this, it's usually the proximal and distal in medical anatomy terms usually means the center line. It's safe to say in this instance, it means the heart. So when I refer to the proximal end of the arterial laceration, I'm referring to what you could essentially call the bottom portion of the severed hose that is the severed artery, and the distal region of the severed artery is the severed hose end at the top. And what we see in the wound characteristics of Charlie's response to this impact is we do not see high pressurized spurting atomization of pulsatile flow coming from the proximal region, the bottom region, which we would absolutely expect if he was still alive and his heart was still beating, because the proximal region of this laceration is, again, a mere inches away from the highest pressure, highest amount of pressure in the human body with a beating heart. There would, if Charlie was alive, there would most definitely be pulsatile flow emitting from the proximal region, the bottom region of this arterial laceration. But instead, what we see is a dumping of blood, almost like pouring out a pitcher, a dumping of blood from the distal region of the arterial laceration. The distal arterial laceration being the end of the hose, so to speak, that is the top portion. And what that means is there's arterial flow and there is retrograde flow. The blood that comes out of this wound is non-pulsatile. It is what is referred to as retrograde blood flow. It is essentially gravity dumping out this blood from everything that was above it. And there's been speculation, was this the left common carotid artery, or was it the jugular vein? To give simple terms on the difference between these two. The left common carotid artery, both the carotid arteries, but on this side, the left common carotid artery, its job is to take that freshly oxygenated blood from the heart via the aortic valve upward into the brain. And that blood is obviously bright red, freshly oxygenated blood. The jugular vein on either side, its job is to redirect deoxygenated blood back to the heart for reoxygenation. And this is why I believe that some people have, I'm saying that it's possible that this projectile severed both the left common carotid artery and the jugular, but I disagree with the assertion that it was most definitely the jugular, because people are saying that the blood appears to be dark and thus deoxygenated. What they are synonymizing with dark is the free-flowing blood, like just the massive amount of blood. But when you look at the blood on the shirt, the blood is bright red. It appears darker as it's free-flowing and falling out of the wound. Sorry to
I'm gonna pull it up. But by the way, I have to go in 5 minutes because I have to, that's why she kept calling us. We need two parents in two places at the same time.
Yeah,
but,
we
can continue this after.
But sorry for this is such a complex topic, and I really
you're fine.
But I feel strange just like dumping this and not being able to clarify. I don't mean to say like, trust me, bro, with all this. I love showing my work, and I want to deep dive into this. And
you, as you produce the work, like I will help you put it up for sure.
Fantastic. I need help with specifically with 3D. I'm not familiar with videography and audio, but most specifically 3D animation, rendering, Blender, and such. That would be a great help to me.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it, but I bet AI can.
One last thing, can we show that mannequin?
Yeah.
Cool.
I was trying to find. Yeah, I'm trying to find a clip that I definitely cannot show on here, just to look at the blood or whatever. But yeah,
you can show this. Oh, that's the one. One moment, please.
This one, right? This is the right one.
That's the one. I have another one where the cross is outside the shirt. That's showing. So sorry, that is not the right one. It's going to take me some time. We can do this another time. I hope that.
Okay, no worries.
Interesting, at least. Here, I'll show you a funny one. This is another funny one, just for goofs. This is another instance of again, I don't know, man. Like I don't want to get too into the mudslinging, but I can explain what's happening here in that video that I just uploaded to.
No, sling the mud, dude.
Okay, all right, fine. All right, I'll
like this one right here.
I am today.
This one?
Yeah, that's it.
Dude, sling the shit out of the mud.
I don't understand. I wanted to work with Blake, but here we go. I'll basically explain what he's trying to say here, just to further proof.
Just love slinging the mud. Oh yeah.
Establishment of like what I basically said at the beginning of the episode or the show. Go ahead.
Play it.
Oh, got it.
Is I'm on the necklace. The pendant having a much more complicated and just newer styled explosive. I think it's a nitrocarbon compound. So there's octanitrocubane.
It's octanitrocubane, vaguely similar, but that would not be what you would use.
And some other hexa. These words are so complicated, I can't even think of it off the top of my head. But
what he's trying to refer to there is the microchemical exothermic reaction of lithium and sulfur hexafluoride, which is what I contend was used. It produces a micro exothermic reaction. Again, lithium and sulfur hexafluoride. If anyone out there who's interested in this sort of thing wants to research that, they'll see what I'm talking about.
It's basically these newly developed, I'm talking within the 90s, okay, of these highly, highly, highly effective, efficient, they call them they're microshake charged, but they're high energy density materials, HEDMs. Okay, and I believe one of those compounds at a very small amount was put into the necklace along with a bridge wire, which would have been the collapsing bridge wire. All of
Okay, this is when it gets into the shape charge thing that I went over before. But yeah, that's like you said, I don't want to sling the mud. I really don't. But it's just this. I wanted to develop this in a very particular order. I didn't want it to get mixed up in this sensationalized, drama nonsense, because my aim is I want to satisfy the investigative community. I want to answer the questions. I believe I have the data, but most importantly, I want to create something that does not offer up on a silver platter to the malicious actors responsible for this a reason why we're not going to take it seriously. And that is done by these assertions, these speculative assertions that, like, oh, it was you see how he's crossing his arms, Brian Hartlepool's crossing his arms, it was obviously him. It's like, what, if we are honest with ourselves, and I mean this of myself and the entire investigative community, that does irreparable damage. It might get clicks, it might get noticed, it might be fine in the investigative community. I would encourage everyone.
Also, real quick, Paul, Jordan Henshaw is saying he's going to open an X space right after this, and he would be thrilled if you joined. And anybody else?
I love Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to open that up. So if you go in there and then request to speak, he'll pull you up.
How do I do that? On X, I haven't joined.
I'll show you, dude. Hang on. Let me do this. So, hold on.
I really feel like I've butchered this.
No, you're good, dude.
I mean,
not at all.
Not everybody in the world is 24/7 on their machines.
Here, hang on. So if I were to, here we go. So I'll share my screen and show you. So, all right. So you go to X, and then you would just go to Jordan Henshaw's page. So, go to his page, and then you'll see he'll have a live space. You literally just going to enter it, and then it'll say request to speak. Click that, and he'll bring you up.
Okay, it'll be right at the top.
It should be, yeah.
Okay, and he's in it now, and you have to go.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, this was awesome. I'm late now. My dog's be waiting, but this is awesome. I'll call you later on, and everybody go head over to the spaces with Jordan Henshaw and Paul. Thank you so much, man. We'll talk very shortly.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
All right, thanks, guys. All right, bye.
Okay, so let's yeah, so here we have it. It does look, from what, how Blake was talking, it does look like he got that information from Paul. I mean, all he had to do was say, yeah, I was talking to this guy, and we've been talking, and here's, I mean, obviously this guy has the physics background. Blake Bednarz doesn't. I mean, I looked at his, excuse me, I think his LinkedIn. He's a salesman. He went to college or whatever, but he's not all of these words. I'm metho something or other. I mean, that's how I would say it as well, but I would say, oh yeah, ask this guy. He'll explain it to you with all the technical terms. That's all he had to do. What's the big deal? Really, it's so silly. So silly. But one of the things though about the courts, the issue really is in defense of the lawyers and the lawyers for the defense. They only have to show that it was not Tyler Robinson who shot the gun that killed Charlie Kirk. They don't have to show that it wasn't a gun that shot Charlie Kirk. However, if the accused is being accused of shooting somebody, and then you say, but wait a second, the person wasn't shot. Right away, oh, bye-bye. And Baron Coleman, he said at the beginning when they were first the charging documents, he said the defense made a mistake. They admitted that it was a 30-06 that shot him. So now they're in a bind. What do they do? Oh, yeah, well, we're not going to admit it anymore. I don't know if you can do that. See, this is one of the things. You don't. This is like no. Oh, oops. That was just a dress rehearsal. Uh-uh. Um. So yeah, he doesn't have to show that, and he doesn't have to prove his innocence. It's the responsibility of the prosecution to prove his guilt. Now that there's a, Baron Coleman has gone on a variety of ways. Excuse me, with timeline of when he was arrested, and he was arrested, and then the supposed confession was posted on Discord while he was in custody. Not possible. I mean, unless he got access to some, as Baron Coleman said, he got access to some phone, and he logged in, and like when he's already said, I want a lawyer, then he goes and he posts this thing on Discord. That makes sense. That makes sense. Impossible. I mean, okay, 99.9%, unless the guy's absolutely crazy. And then you say he's crazy. We can't try him. Um, so the thing is, as I say, so they only have to prove that Charlie wasn't killed with a shotgun. You got the wrong guy, you got the wrong MO. None of these people know what the fuck they're doing. These people are idiots. Oh yeah, that'll look really bad for the FBI, right? And for the local police and the prosecution. It's going to raise a lot of questions. Oh, we wouldn't want that. God forbid. Respectable people being accused of something. That's why we keep the little people around. So when we need Patsy, we'll round them up, and oh, here, this one's good. This is what American soldiers have been fighting for generations. Food for thought, you berets, you green berets. Oh God, that's too funny that Paul likes Gary Melton. Nobody likes Gary Melton. I promise you, I'm going to have a course. We'll do it at Hillsdale. With the Hillsdale course on logic that I've started. I'm gonna keep on that one on Euclid logic for these people, because they have no like, there's no common sense. There's no logic. There's, as I agree with Baron Coleman. Their response is, No, you present them with evidence. Uh-uh. Oh, Lord. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for now. Sorry.